like, you know how there's always examples of like fucking British people getting in trouble because they had sex on the plane to Mallorca. Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna have sex on the plane to Brussels, baby. Before our nerd field
can't
trip.
do that. No.
No, we're gonna do the fucking no. It's the fucking what's his name?
Wade Boggs, right?
No, Wade Boggs is the Always Sunny version. Who is the?
There's an original version of that game.
No. What's his name? The Luxembourg man, drunk as hell.
Juncker.
Yeah.
We can only drink port.
We can only drink. All right, each person has to finish 6 bottles of port before they get from Warsaw to fucking Brussels.
Can we later,
honestly, I
like
could.
kiss
I could.
everyone? And
Yeah.
then bitch slap them, and
Yulia and I the other day were looking up videos of
Jean-Claude.
Jean-Claude Juncker just like meeting heads of European state drunk off his fucking ass.
holding Orban's
Relatable.
hand.
Yeah.
Way
You
too
can
long.
make you can make him go viral among the TikTok team.
He is already. Oh, he is.
Rightfully
There are so many
so.
compilations of like
Honestly, we
top.
stand.
Yes, it's like top 10 most drunk European
icon.
politicians. Number 3, Jean-Claude Juncker.
Whenever if
number
we
3,
if
he
we
should be number 1.
He's number 1 in my heart.
anyone who throws up on the plane from drinking too much port has to wear another weighted Nobel Prize around their neck.
I think I've told Nick before. Are you guys aware of the Great American Challenge drinking game?
No.
It's something I did in college once, where you have to drink 30 beers, smoke something like 1/8 of an ounce of weed, eat a pie, and do a puzzle, and it's a race, 5 versus 5.
That sounds like throwing up.
So yeah, you do. But
Yeah, okay, so the European one, you have to drink
gotta
6 bottles of port.
Yeah.
You
I
have to
don't
do
know.
a shit ton of ketamine.
Oh God, not again.
You have to. What was it?
K-ho.
You have to eat like
just something-
13 croissants,
Or just something very like.
and then you have to commit a war crime.
Yay!
You're only allowed pass out in the part of mini Europe that represents your country. If we do go to Brussels, we are getting shit-faced at mini Europe. I love it so much.
Can you get shit faced there?
I mean, put it in like a Lucas. Put it in like a bottle.
Water
from the-
bottle. It's vodka, but
it's
Okay, so but outside of mini
make it
Europe,
look like water.
outside of mini Europe, we're doing the thing that you talked about, where we just drink all the beers like they do in Always Sunny, and then just like throw them on the ground.
outside the European
I'm gonna boof the alcohol in the hotel room in the hostel, and then just it should be kicking in when we get to Mini Europe.
We eat the edibles in Warsaw.
For the first time ever, we mentioned the word boof on this show. You don't know what boof is, do you?
No.
It is consuming alcohol through your anus.
Oh, that has a name. Okay.
Yeah. Honestly, it hits
I know the
different.
concept. Is it with a tampon?
No.
Okay. Because
I mean,
that's
maybe you
also a
could like
thing.
maybe
Like
you
you soak it.
Hang on, I
you
like
soak
this
it in
idea
it.
more.
Yeah. So you have vodka. You soak like a
Yeah,
tampon
true,
in
true.
vodka, and then you stick it up your ass.
Yeah.
Okay, I think this is actually a perfect
That's how
transition.
you get drunk.
I think this is a
Through
perfect
your
transition
anus.
to the actual episode then. No, wait, no, because
What,
wait.
because vodka.
Wait, no. Hey, welcome to your weekly Corner Späti. We got the whole gang here. A little bit looser, I guess, of an environment, but not that loose of a topic. It's actually very serious.
It's very, yeah.
It's myself, Nick, with Rob,
Hola.
Kieran. Kieran just boofed.
I was trying to think of another language to say hi in, and all I could think was Spanish. Because he said hola.
Fucking owned. Bitch.
Yeah, and Yulia.
Strasbourg.
Yeah. All right,
I
so
wanted to do that.
before we all right, so we're talking about Eastern Europe just
Surprise.
is on fire somehow. Yeah, it's getting wild. But the first one is that like Poland has a bunch of had elections recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Rob and I, before this episode, we were at the
victory party from
You-
Duda's.
Were you
live in
there?
Warsaw.
we went to go we went
Stefan?
to go get drinks at our lovely Getränk Hoffmann that I have near my house, which is a relic
for the party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Rob was discussing how, because it's one of the few places in Berlin that you can find that 95% Polish alcohol.
And the super delicious.
Yes, exactly. The other Polish hazelnut thing. And like
I highly doubt it's delicious.
it's good. Shut
it's
up.
good.
But
Everyone loves it. Everyone in Eastern Europe loves it.
while we're in line, Rob
You're
just,
the weirdo.
Yeah. Rob, while we were in line, Rob just I showed him then that you can get this 95% Polish alcohol, and just Rob just immediately just started in his mind palace started picturing what a Polish victory party looked like. Where this is
I like to imagine it's a very international affair. Like they fly in Stefan Molyneux to like give a toast. Ben Garrison's there. He's like painting like the Last Supper. Like,
but everything's
but his cartoon
labeled.
version.
Beautiful.
Poland.
I mean, you gotta celebrate. You know.
Yeah, and they're all boofing this fucking 95% alcohol. Just dying.
I think that just like that would ruin you. I feel like I've done 95% alcohol before.
It would be the end of like
Yeah,
it would be the
I
end
think
of.
I've done like
It's not even that you've had it. You've done it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've had basement grappa. I have lost my
Yeah.
vision temporarily.
It would, if you boof 95% alcohol, it would be the end of Terminator 2, where he's going into the lava and doing the thumbs up.
As I just melt into my own ass.
But you had a good time doing it, right?
Yeah,
like at the fucking piss party, victory party.
Can we? Oh
I
god.
mean-
I really want. We planned this a long time ago about the like German language corner Späti bonus episode. But if
Yeah.
that happens, you guys have to like conjugate boof. Like ich boofe. Boofen.
Ich habe mit meinen Jungs gebooft.
Oh shit, you should make that a thing.
Wir sind am Boofen heute Abend.
Oh, voll am Bufen drin, ne? Junge.
Ich boofe, du boofst.
Sie es
Es
booft.
buft. Sie bufen.
It's a beautiful language.
Ihr booft.
Wir bufen.
We're not talking about boofing. We're talking about the Polish elections.
They really boofed it.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Who's going to give the people a rundown of what happened?
Oh, right. Okay. Well, I can.
Real quick. So, first of all, the elections were postponed because of COVID, right? So they were scheduled for like March or something, and then they pushed it back a month, and another
I
month.
think for April they were scheduled.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they finally settled on last week sometime.
Yeah.
As of this recording.
Yeah. So the simple way of putting the presidential elections is they have like the French system of like a 2-round type of thing. The turnout in the first round was 64%. It's now 68%. None of these numbers are real. So the second round was between Andre Duda, Ludacris. Duda. This character is incredibly cursed, but I'm going to make it happen. Of the
Has Ludacris been canceled yet, by the way?
probably.
Okay. I know that Ludacris is like living his best life as a cowboy now or something.
My favorite like Ludacris like guest verse is in that song Pocketbook, but it is a very like no means no verse, which Ludacris is just not getting. Andre Dudicus, he's technically independent, but he's piss party.
Yeah, he is.
We want another mid 2000 song. INDEPENDENT. Do you know what that means?
Progress and independence. Law and Justice
Law and
Party.
Justice.
Law and Justice. Erdogan? Wait, yeah, that's also Law and Justice. What the? All these shit countries. Yeah.
I mean, if you're especially for like fascism and shit like
Yeah.
that, you call it law and justice.
No, but Erdogan's for development, I thought, isn't it?
Yeah,
Justice and
probably.
development.
No,
Yeah,
he changed the name of the party.
Oh,
It used to
really?
be- it used to be. I think it was AKP had a
don't know.
different acronym.
Fuck development. I'm done with that shit.
We're going back.
Yeah.
All right.
The year was 1914. The Ottoman Empire was not involved in a war yet.
Things were good. We owned Tunisia.
So as I understand it,
No, I take that back. It is still Law, Justice, and Development Party.
Yeah. So then the other candidate, which we will talk about later, is I'm going to try and do this. Rafael Trzaskowski of PO or Civic Coalition is Civic Platform is PO.
Yeah.
Technically. Yeah. He's brought up a project coalition. He lost very, very slightly though.
Loser.
Duda got 51% of the vote. The Raphael got 49%. Raphael, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, got 49%
You can
of
also
the
call him
vote.
Casimir because his second name is Casimieri or something.
I'm going to say more like Virginkovsky.
Sickone.
Trzaskowski.
Most of the things on the internet, like, we'll talk about this, but most of the things on the internet, because the map is here, everyone's kind of like pointing out that the people who vote for Civic Platform are all in the like former German parts of Poland. Look at that map.
Yeah, it often breaks down that way, though, right? In Polish elections.
Interesting.
There's no Germans there anymore. Anyway.
No, people were saying that it's like due to like higher, like I don't know, more kind of industrialization.
Yeah, that's the developed part of Poland. Like.
But okay,
Part
wait.
where they're not boofing 95% spirit in their
We jumped the gun because Virginkowski, he was just made the candidate like 2 months ago, right?
Just coffee. Yeah.
Very recently. So what was the story with that? Like apparently, so from what I heard, that the other candidate was kind of like floundering, and I mean, most ruling parties so he's whatever kind of related to piss. So most of the ruling parties got
fucking
distant
Poland
cousin.
with your
most ruling
distant
parties
piss
got a
cousin.
boost, so maybe it was related to that. But apparently, the story I heard, they made Trzaskowski the candidate, and then through the roof.
Yeah,
like,
Poland
support.
Polling had the presumed candidate. I'm not sure if he was actually official, but Kidova Blonska. This is the name here that's being polled back in like late last year as presumptive candidate, and like polling only brings in Trzaskowski
Never heard of him.
until middle of May.
Yo.
I love how Poland has the
So
exact
just, like,
same.
After the elections were supposed to be.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's very
I love how like
interesting.
Poland has the exact same political landscape as the elections in Belarus that are also happening. Just like anyone who can like kind of
We'll get to that.
anyone who's just kind of like there becomes like an opposition leader or whatever.
Well, it's like, as Rob said, like in the 90s, like anyone who wore a suit well enough and did a good handshake in like Eastern Europe was just made a millionaire.
Well, I don't trust this Trzaskowski character because first of all, he
I'm more of a Rachmaninoff fan myself, but
he seems a bit like Polish Pete Buttigieg, and he's very connected to like he just seems to have been like trained to be a EU assassin and since he was like 18.
Probably. I mean,
Polish Pete Buttigieg is just one Polish man who just like had a gay thought once, and then
Well, I mean, all right.
I
So
would say he's like, in comparison to Duda, he's definitely like pro LGBT. I wouldn't say like he's super, like he's pro.
So
he
what-
just doesn't have a problem.
what's the
with
history?
it.
What's the history
I'd
with
say-
this 2019 declaration? Because so he was mayor of Warsaw, the Trzaskowski, and so in February or something, he just the city government made some declaration supporting LGBT rights, and then this like literally just set off the whole country and like piss and all, and the ruling parties
was pissed.
denounced it.
Yes.
There were several. Let me get the exact quote here. LGBT ideology free zones were declared across Poland.
Yeah.
They had like bars and shit like that where you weren't allowed to go. You were LGBT.
hey, but at least they had free speech bars that Stefan Molyneux went
it's
to.
probably
on
the
his-
same place. It's
Yeah.
probably the same place. Like free speech, but not for gay people
And-
or trans or
Yeah,
any.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then that was God, I fucking forgot. Like, I'm sorry to bring this back up because this is an old like reaching back into the bag of. Yeah,
The Stefan documentary.
the Stefan Molyneux
yeah.
documentary
That
where he
was
just
those
ends
were
up at a
times.
rally and just
Cries at it.
cries, but then just
So
like
touching.
really
White
openly,
supremacism.
like really openly, just like is hanging out with Nazis, like
Yeah.
people who are just like
Really cute.
very clearly. I mean, like the international symbol of neo Nazis is like black T-shirt with white font that then's like very frightening looking, and then like camo pants.
Yeah.
Well, that really like on the nose Polish one of the green flag with the like white fist holding a sword.
Yeah.
I can't remember what that's
Wait,
called.
I have more notes here.
Yeah, too.
So he speaks a lot of languages.
Cool.
Trzaskowski, and his dad is famous, not a
works at
Marxist
Nintendo.
professor.
Okay.
Does he? Did he work for Nintendo?
It doesn't work.
No, he was like a jazz musician or something. So he fits the Buttigieg profile.
Trzaskowski was a jazz musician.
His dad was.
I thought he played
Jazz
the piano.
His dad was. That's what I'm saying. He fits the
That's why
Buttigieg
Jazz
profile.
Kowski.
Call him Jaskowski.
Yeah,
I like that.
Jaskowski.
He didn't. He doesn't play jazz.
That
He
might
just
have been a
fucking.
stage
He
name.
just fucking works for the EU and speaks a lot of languages. Virginkowski.
His dad though is a jazz musician named Jaskowski.
All right.
What
all
a
right.
stage name.
All right, let's get into this. So basically, I mean, I'm sure this was like a fucking tactic from Piss from the beginning, but since they made him the candidate, they're like, all right, this election's going to be about kitchen table issues, like is my son gay?
Yeah.
Like, we got to talk about what's really affecting Polish people.
Is that guy's son gay?
Yeah, they have the fucking drive-through gay test now in Poland where you just can get swabbed with the thing just thrown up your nose.
They made like fucking stickers and shit like that, where they cross out LGBT flags. And
Yeah. No,
so
I'm
it's
very
a
much
big-
aware of
it's a
that.
big
I thought it was like some sort of like mood sticker. It's like if it turns green.
Yeah.
Which spectrum of the rainbow is this? I'm totally hetero.
Yeah, that's it.
Completely. With 0.1% of bi-curious.
Yeah.
Okay, but despite all this, he got pretty close. So it was the closest election since 1989 in Poland. They got a run for their money, and there's a lot of accusations of fraud. I mean, so basically, what's going on now is they don't.
You mean the party that just rewrote their constitution could be committing fraud?
We're gonna get there in a second. So basically,
There's nothing in the rule book that says you can't change the rule book.
it was. It's like asking the genie for more wishes. Duh.
Smart.
So the final results were like 51-49.
If I wasn't Aladdin, I would have.
And
I'm just imagining a spin-off of Air Bud called Pole Bud, and it's just a Labrador running for the fucking Duma in Poland. There's nothing in the Constitution that says a dog can't be president.
Oh god, that's like those really small towns in the U.S. that have a cat as their mayor.
Rightfully so. Cats should rule.
You should be so lucky. Go on.
so and there's been a lot of I guess civilian signing. Submitting fraud kind of investigations, getting signatures and everything. I think because since he was just in May nominated as a candidate, he needed something like 6 days to collect X number of signatures, 100,000, and he got 1.5 million. So there was a real kind of
That guy.
yeah, populist even EU populist effort to push this guy to the top, but he came up short. A lot of the claims of fraud are around foreign ballots. So
German, Polish, the German, Polish
so
ones,
from the Polish diaspora, German Polish, for example.
Can they vote?
This is from the New York Times. They said in Britain, for example,
countries need to just realize that the diaspora vote just shouldn't.
Well, in this case, the diaspora vote was heavily for our Virginkowski character.
Well, okay, that's
in Britain, over 30,000 ballots, that's 16%, went missing. And he dominated, landslide, 80-20 in the diaspora vote. Virginkowski.
Okay.
But, they're probably going to get away with it.
Oh, yeah, of course. So,
and that's partly because the judge who's in charge of this was nominated by Duda.
Yeah, and that is the interesting thing because, this is something that happened with Hungary and with Poland back then, that they both tried to change their constitution. Hungary actually was able to do that, to completely change the constitution because of majority or something.
Supermajority.
Yeah, supermajority. Poland wasn't allowed to do it because they didn't have the supermajority.
Poland isn't as gerrymandered as fuck as Hungary is. Yeah.
But they did do it through amendments. So they did change the constitution. So what they did is kind of taking power away from the Supreme Court by saying that the laws don't have to go through the Supreme Court anymore. So so their parliament can just pass it.
They did pass an amendment saying the Supreme Court was gay. And that's why
the Supreme Court is an LGBT.
I'm just really curious. Did a lot of these Eastern European countries? I mean, because it is 90s, early 2000s. Did they get their entire political playbook from Star Wars Episode 3?
Yeah.
I really get that feeling that they're damn, he just said he's the Senate, so
yeah, we can do that as well.
We can do that as well, right? Yeah.
So in addition to that, they also changed the way of how Supreme Justice are elected or appointed, not elected.
Didn't they try to kick out every Supreme Court justice?
They kicked everyone out. They
Supreme
did that.
Court justice,
well,
but whatever,
not necessarily they kicked everyone out, but what they did
over the age of 65 or something.
They have
that.
they have a ministry or something. It's called the Justice Council, and this council is the council that appoints the judges for the Supreme Court, and they replace everyone in this council Like they fired everyone, kind of, and they replaced them with people that were in favor of
With
piss
Air
party.
Bud.
Racist airbud.
Racist
Exactly.
Polish Air Bud.
It's like the opposite of the Queer Eye Netflix series. You make it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's basically piss just put people in that are in favor of the party, and so even though they don't appoint them themselves, they have people that will appoint them for them. So basically, they are in complete control of the justice system.
They are the Senate.
They are the Senate.
This was in like 2017, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty
That
recently.
was
2016?
2016 it
Okay.
was.
Yeah, yes.
So I have here, again, reading from the New York Times, these changes led the European Commission to trigger Article 7 of the Treaty on the European Union,
the
the
article
so-called
that does nothing.
the so-called nuclear option that would result in Poland losing its voting rights, but that requires a unanimous vote by all 27 EU member countries.
And
Which
Poland
won't
is in there as well. And they actually had like they had a council of law professionals digging into the changes of the constitutions in Hungary and in Poland, but especially in Poland. They had this council. They were all coming together. I think in Venezia, so like Venedig. What do you guys say?
Venice.
Venice.
Venice Beach, brah.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, Venice. I said it in 3 languages. Choose one.
It's pronounced Venece.
Veneci. So yeah, they were all like coming together saying, okay, this is bullshit, Poland shouldn't do this. So they did make a friendly recommendation to not do
Strongly worded letter.
Exactly. And that is all that happened. Those were the consequences. So it was just like a friendly
It's just- it was just
friendly
Poland's,
recommendation to
it was
not
Poland sending Stan letters to...
Yeah, 'cause we talked about this about like how it might be possible to like a left-wing government in the EU to like hijack the EU for like good reasons, and it's basically doing what Poland and Hungary have done because.
I'm jealous as shit of how the right in these
it's
countries
impressive.
exists
But,
because
like-
they are using very...
They're using the institutions that are there, and they're using them to their benefit, to their advantages.
So like the unanimous vote of 27 members, that's everyone but Poland actually. Like Poland doesn't have to like vote for itself.
Okay, good.
But like Hungary is perpetually their friend. And like they
power
back
of
up.
Visegrad.
Yeah.
There's still some
Poland's
real
not
friends
in
left in
Visegrad.
this world.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
What?
Yeah, Poland, Czech
Oh,
Republic,
yo,
and Hungary.
What the fuck? I learned something today.
But then like I mean, it was also compromised because like it was so easy to bribe the UK because they were trying to leave the EU, so they could just be like, "Oh, we'll give you whatever you want.
Whatever.
We don't.
We'll give you racism.
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh,
You're
we
trying to do
also-"
racism.
8 migrants.
They probably, they probably
I
hoped
imagine-
that the Polish people from the UK would go back to Poland after like.
I imagine the
Changes are
UK like bargains, like haggles like Homer Simpson. I know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, the UK is just that meme that's been going around. Just like, yeah, like the 8 migrants, 8 whatever the other thing is, simple as.
Yeah.
And Poland tapped into that clearly, and they
Oh,
got
yeah,
them to
yeah,
sign
yeah.
into it.
And I mean, this whole election also kind of worked like that because they just in March, in early in the morning, they passed a new law, like a crisis law package or something.
yay.
It's not, but it wasn't only about money. It was also about the election. So they made it possible, as far as I know it, that old people can vote without leaving their home.
Yeah.
So like
Through the app.
Yeah, what do you call it?
Mail-in ballots, yeah.
Mail-in ballots,
Or
yeah.
no, yeah, because
Mail-in
absentee
ballots,
ballots
yeah.
are different.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, like very strategic and important for the PiS party because if you look at who voted for Duda, it's mostly people that are like 60 or older.
Yeah.
So it's old people voting
Yeah.
for the PiS party.
So like every other party in Poland, even ones we might consider good, like Razem, which have like a predominantly young vote.
Yeah.
But because this is the French style, like 2-round system, it's always just like vote for the lesser evils. So they'll get all those like this Virginkovsky guy will get like all. I can't believe
It just stuck.
it's stuck. It's stuck. The other name is too hard to pronounce.
Jazzkowski.
Jazzkowski.
That's his
They
dad.
actually renamed it to Chopskovsky. It was not Chaz anymore.
Nice.
Anyway,
R.I.P.
I like the
R.I.P.
reference.
R.I.P. F in the chat. But yeah, so like, so even the younger vote that would go towards parties that are fine-ish, like all have to go to this Virginkovsky guy because they're not going to go to PiS.
I'm just genuinely curious from this is an open question to everyone, including the listener, because I don't think we know the answer to this. Why did Poland pick the most complicated electoral system in Europe to like?
Because it's cool.
Just for fun. I did read when I was looking through the parties, one of the smaller Polish parties literally uses like the American nomination system to nominate their.
Oh no, that's horrible.
I think it's just like
they have
you mean the French
primaries.
presidential
it's like,
system?
yeah,
Oh my
it's just
God.
like when you want to show off,
Psychotic.
you just like.
Yeah, but no, that's actually like stupidly popular across Europe.
Why?
Because it's just they can like from the Eastern European perspective, like particularly France is a strong and stable country. Like when
It's a republic.
you have to actually think in the context of when the Soviet Union fell, when the Second World basically fell, like. The strongest country.
Also, R.I.P.
The first world in my heart.
Yeah. But the strongest country in Europe at the time was France. Germany hadn't ascended.
Germany
yet.
was split in half.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
Right.
So that's the system to copy.
And, no one would want to copy the British system.
God no.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense, though. I mean, I've never actually thought about that because like Germany, in all its like chaotic bullshit of how the German political system is, makes a lot of sense. Like representation in like German parliament, albeit that Germany votes way too conservative, is actually quite evenly distributed compared to France's. I would argue probably more so. I mean, sorry, we can't have a fucking perfect system like Ireland.
Yeah.
But France's is the most insane. Like sometimes I'm like sometimes I think to myself that like the U.S. system makes a little bit more sense than the French one, even though the U.S. system is also buck wild and dumb. But yeah. No.
But like the weird thing about like the Eastern European countries that copied the French presidential voting system is that they only copied the French presidential voting system. Like the French Parliament does 2-round voting as well. Like you in your district will vote for all the people.
Yeah.
And then, but like Poland doesn't do that. Anywhere that has the 2-round presidential system doesn't do that for their parliament.
They just do regular parliamentary.
Yeah. Or first past the post or whatever.
Yeah, one more thing, since you mentioned that he was like appointed quite late, Trzaskowski, that is why there was actually like people saying, also like lawyers and shit, like the law professionals saying, okay, this election shouldn't be a hold in, shouldn't happen, you know, because the candidate, like he was appointed very late, and he didn't have the access to media as much as the PiS party has, because they are the media.
They are the media.
They are the Senate.
Yeah, they are Poland. So he didn't you didn't have like information about Trzaskowski like going out, and people not knowing what he stands for, people not knowing about him in general. Yeah. So especially if you're not like from Warsaw.
I will say he doesn't seem to have helped himself much. So in addition to just the like blatant homophobia, just like inventing this whole this cultural crisis.
At the end, he said that if he had problems with you in the past, he's willing to work with you. Obviously, I don't believe it. Of course not. But that was one of the funniest fucking things that I read, was that then Duda, when he won the election, was like, yo, to everyone that I fucking pissed off, like, I'm sorry. Like, what?
Duda. This is from, but another big issue was kind of the, you've talked about it, you've explained it well, Yulia, the kind of like, the quote-unquote welfare system in countries like Poland and Hungary that really just seems to benefit, families, it seems to benefit, it's designed in a certain way.
Familia is Polish for family.
Yeah, it's not an actual, like, I don't know, leftist, redistributive system.
They're never universal.
No, it's supposed to be for Polish people and for, like, richer Polish people, big families, but only if it's rich people,
so
families.
Like, with Fidesz's system, it was always benefited people who would, because you legally can't just give it to Fidesz voters. It would just be like the demographics that usually vote Fidesz.
Exactly. Yeah, especially with the changes that were made recently in the 2010s.
So this is just from a Jacobin interview with one of the, I forget the name, the left party candidates. And they mentioned that Trzaskowski was asked whether he had voted to raise the retirement age. He responded he didn't remember if he'd been an MP when the vote took place. It was immediately discovered that he had been, and indeed had voted to raise the retirement age. Seems like, really sticking your foot. Like,
how do we find these people just continuously in I mean,
Brussels psyop.
no, but the thing is that like Poland has good left-wing parties, but their social democratic parties are horrible. Like,
everyone's social democratic party is horrible.
Right now social democracy is in a massive crisis. But I mean, for fuck's sake, like that's embarrassing.
But like Eastern European social democratic parties in particular, because they're just like these weird, stodgy, like corruption machines. That are just like, I'd really like it to go back to when we were the only party. That was nice, please.
Yeah, that has a lot to do with...
They're doing the fucking two fingers together.
It has a lot to do with that social democracy in that sense was kind of like the imported idea from the US and came with neoliberalism. So the idea was, okay, you are like...
They weren't even like a part of that though too, which is even weirder. Like they came later,
So when you were like a social democrat, especially like people in Poland wouldn't trust you anymore after, the shit that went down, that people...
The year 1989.
People didn't get richer, people didn't feel better under, without communism and shit like that. Finally seen that there was a lot of corruption going on, and a lot of corruption came, was from the people that were, considered the
It's still shit,
liberal
but now like kids
people.
have left for Germany, basically.
And so there is this whole thing about like this mistrust of social democracy, and
it's like social democracy in Eastern Europe is not really social democracy in any kind of like academic sense. It's more like sock Twitter social democracy of just like, I want to call myself left wing, but I only go on the neoliberal subreddit.
More explicitly so than other. Like I mean,
but in Poland especially, there was like the difficult situation was this kind of like alliance that they had between intellectuals fighting communism and workers fighting communism. So like in Solidarność, you had like a kind of an alliance between the intellectual, liberal kind of people and the workers.
And the CIA.
And the CIA. And America. America was in the bed as well.
They were telling us that Lyndon B. Johnson's dick was really big.
Yeah, they're like, see, if you fucking if you demolish this communism, everyone can just have a fucking massive hog.
But especially like the workers' part of Solidarność later felt betrayed by the intellectuals, when it came to, I don't know, economics, probably.
Wait, they're getting rich. We're not.
Exactly.
I also want to say quickly about Duda. So he's locked himself up another 5 years, 5-year term, I think.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are saying, well, now Poland will become the next Hungary. I'm not sure about that, but I do want to point out that
you won by
Duda
51%. You're not gonna fucking. You're not like you're no fucking Viktor Orban. You're no fucking king over here.
It's not necessarily Duda who's like pulling the strings anyway. So it's Kaczynski.
It's George Soros, of course.
Ted from his jail cell, as always.
So
Duda is buddies with Trump, actually. Among foreign leaders, Trump seems to like Duda, the Polish. Poland a lot.
Trump did that bizarre fucking speech in Warsaw too.
Yeah,
Well,
he was at the victory party.
Trump was fucking boofing with the boys. No, Trump
did he do like a sword dance with him?
Trump.
I boof the best. I do the best boofs.
How do we conjugate boof in Polish?
I kind of find that word disgusting now. I don't know.
Because it is disgusting.
Shoving alcohol into your ass. You didn't find it disgusting before.
But Trump gave his fucking blood and soil European nationalism fucking speech in Warsaw.
Trump, like Stefan Molyneux, went to Poland and found himself.
I
just want to point out that Duda was the first
typical American going to Europe just to connect and find himself.
He was the first. Well, it was like Eat, Pray, Love, but just
racism.
Duda was the first foreign leader to meet with Trump since the coronavirus started. This was a couple weeks ago, and it was also seen as rallying support among a certain segment of
racist
piss voters. And they talked about how Trump has said multiple times that he wants to take troops out of Germany
and put them into
Poland.
Taking troops out of Germany, putting them into Poland.
That actually makes perfect sense, though. It makes perfect sense, though.
Why?
Because Germany doesn't want them.
I mean,
like the thing that then's very interesting in Germany is that then kind of like the collective thing is that
sorry,
like there's a weird thing that then Germany would like to be even like on the conservative side of that, Germany wants to be a member of NATO still is questionable, but even I think people on the right don't like the American presence.
Yeah, of course not, because
they want to then
they think that Germany is occupied.
Yeah, no, of course. Like, but that's the thing. And then on the left, obviously, because like is like the massive like NATO critique that then's there. And Poland is a very enthusiastic member of NATO.
Yeah, big fan.
So why? I mean, if you were Trump in this position, why not? Like, you're strategically, it's not that much different to Germany.
Well,
like,
no, like
geographically.
Don't they already have like CIA
black sites are in Poland everywhere. Yes. Oh yeah.
I mean, they also have like weird economic zones and
special
shit.
economic
Special
zones.
economic.
Poland.
Well, I call them weird economic zones.
Yeah.
the original German.
Don't yuck someone's yum, Yulia. My goodness.
But
our special little thing, our secret economic zone.
No, but I mean, like
I think they're weird.
Poland is the perfect country for this, just like weird U.S. shit, because they don't they want to be part of this project much more than a country like Germany.
Well, now that the U.S. is under Trump, I mean, they weren't the biggest fan of the U.S. during other presidencies.
Well,
but we're the ones with the rapper president. That's legit what they were thinking.
Yeah.
Biden, when Biden wins, he does have just kind of an inscrutable racism against Poles, so it's going to be a little awkward when he's. Yeah.
Yes.
That's true. Fucking WASP vibes though too. Like
well, no, he does that thing where he pretends to be Irish though. Biden,
exactly.
and with that,
Biden,
He thinks hating he thinks hating Poles is part of the deal.
But yeah, no, that like because that's what good old fashioned white against white American racism was. It was just like we've imported the weird Catholic versus Protestant sentiment from Europe. So it's not about Catholic and Protestant. We just hate the Italians, the Irish, and the Poles. This is not about Catholics. No, definitely not. The superior people are definitely the Dutch, the Germans, the British.
Not every part of Germany.
No. Yeah. Fucking Bavaria.
Yeah, fuck Bavaria.
The Great Lake region. Get the fuck out of here.
Rheinland, Köln, and shit.
Yeah,
there was literally
fuck them.
There was like anti-Bavarian sentiment in the States.
But it's because we were Catholic. Yeah,
it's because they were Catholic.
Wow.
Finally.
Yeah. A lot of things are making
we should re-import
a lot
that.
of sense right now to me. I've never thought of it that way before.
No,
It comes down to Catholicism.
So like all this Oktoberfest shit, that is just mocking Bavarians.
No, that came from U.S. troops being stationed in Bavaria.
Oh yeah. They
That's
were
only
like,
post-World War II.
beer and Madel and Brezel and Oberster.
Anything else on Poland from
think
our roundtable of experts?
Oh my God, round table.
Oh God, we forgot to consult the experts.
They're locked in my room.
Damn it. Is there anything?
Great country.
Beautiful country.
Beautiful. You should go.
See you in Warsaw.
Should I talk about my bit that I had going in my head that I wrote into the chat about Poland?
Sure.
Go for it. Yes.
All right. This had me thinking about especially because of Kieran's very weird knowledge of European ethnicities.
Oh yeah.
Particularly
Polish ethnicities.
Yeah,
that are not
particularly
Poles.
Polish ethnicities. I was imagining the sense of the Sorting Hat from Harry Potter. Of them just placing it on someone's head and then
Kashubian.
yeah, exactly. But then fucking a racist ass, European racist ass Harry Potter is sitting there thinking he's 100% German, just not Polish, not Polish, not Polish,
not Polish, eh?
Silesian.
That is what happens in the Brussels factory where they make all of the undercover agents to send around Europe. They're like, please not Poland, please not Poland. I want to go to Croatia.
Yeah, I really like just the chosen one in this weird Harry Potter Brussels universe is the last Prussian.
Well, I was
actual Prussian.
Is Jean-Claude,
Harry Potter and the last
Jean-Claude
Prussian.
Juncker Dumbledore? It's basically
hell yeah.
fucking time.
Hell fucking yeah. Questionably homosexual.
Oh God.
Hell yeah.
Also drunk the whole time.
Yeah.
Let Dumbledore just speaking French even though no one wants him to. That's what it is.
Yeah, J.K. Rowling just tweeting I know I never said this, but Harry is Alsatian, guys. I've known it since the beginning.
That's J.K. Rowling tweeted is like, actually, Jean-Claude Juncker is gay. It's like, I don't think he's what? I wrote the European Union.
Harry Potter, the Treaty of the Treaty of Rome.
Before the Treaty of Utrecht, the Brussels bubble people would just shit on the floor and then legislate it away. And with that, we transition seamlessly into talking about Serbia.
Oh, I thought we were gonna spin the wheel, but okay.
Did we even preview that this is the Eastern Europe is on fire episode?
Yeah.
Cool.
Eastern Europe's on fire.
Luna.
Next fire.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so for anyone, I think we mentioned it before, but there is...
Serbia is a country, but half of us here question its legitimacy.
Yeah, either it doesn't exist or we are in the northernmost okrug of Berlin.
I'd
the
say
Berlin okrug of
it's
Serbia.
all Kosovo.
I say it's all the Ottoman Empire, but whatever. Like
It's all the Ottoman Empire. Someone please just sack Vienna for the love of God. Right, yeah, so...
I'm now doing the two-finger thing to Erdogan, so...
This one?
Yes, that one.
We're going to have to post that emoji when we tweet this episode out.
Yes.
All right. So, on the 7th of July 2020, a series of protests and riots began over the government announcement of re-implementation of the curfew.
Oui.
Yeah, so this is like most of my knowledge of this is going to be a shout out to our number one Serbian fan on the Discord. Join the Discord. Bad Brain. He's been very good and keeping us up to date about what's been happening. Mm-hmm. And I agree with his assessment of these events, which is this is like, despite what a lot of Western media is saying, it's not really to do with COVID-19. That was more just like a straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
Seems to be a running theme with a lot of protests.
Yeah.
Like, it's an easy
Yeah,
hook
of course,
for any kind of news agency to be like, COVID, crisis, look, protests.
It already puts countries into, like, or society into, like, oh my God, now I'm doing, like, a fucking state of emergency.
Yes.
And a state of emergency always is kind of like a political opportunity to either post horrible laws, like in Hungary or in other countries.
Yeah, where Hungary decided that the coronavirus was being caused by trans people.
Yeah. And also you need to take reign of the theaters, because in the theaters there's...
Everyone's got corona in the theaters, lock them up, blow up the theaters. And like we talked about this when we talked about corona, but like the only benefit of what like Sweden had done by like just trying to avoid this whole thing was they at least won't have the whole like, you know, begging to get rid of the emergency law thing afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it really shows the two options. I mean, first of all, they're both very fucked because you either do nothing, and I think the U.S.
Sweden is fucked.
The U.S. is more towards the do nothing because they're trying to like just pretend nothing happened. Like, all right, please disperse. You know, go back to work. As cases are now they're now up to 75,000 a day. So that's the one end. But the other end, it's not so much. It's true that it's an emergency situation, but I remember I said quite optimistically, like, in like the first week of the coronavirus, like, oh, well, now everyone sees like the world is fucked. Like, it kind of just raises a kind of like, I don't know, tense, like anxiety, or just like it brings everything to a boiling point. Yeah. So it's not like they're new problems, but like the contradictions of society are all of a sudden out in the open.
Well, this is the same thing.
Cleavage is in.
So you have to do one or the other, because if you do that, then you are forcing the hand of like, oh, I know the state is overstepping, or you know, they're assuming all these powers, but it's like, but they always assume those powers. So you either have to force that issue that the relationship, how you relate to the fucking what capitalism is. You either do that or just pretend there's nothing going on.
Well, I mean, I think that then it's the perfect example of that was, I don't know if it was already mentioned because I wasn't in the room, but of like France with their stuff. You know,
like the fact that they've been like in insurrection for like basically 2 years.
Yeah, and then immediately then using like Corona, which I mean, like public health issue. But then these very arbitrary numbers that like more than 1,000 people can't meet, and then it like started dwindling down. It's like because of public safety. It's like, and then you saw like the Smurf meeting that they had. Like clearly they weren't.
There was a Smurf festival. In France.
Clearly the fucking Smurf festival wasn't the thing that they were attacking.
I wrote you, Yulia. You didn't get the I went. I texted you like, you coming?
We all went to the Smurf Festival.
Shit, you went without me?
Yeah, we were all undecided.
Were you all like painted in blue?
We were all painted in blue. We all went into like Nick's car blaring the Italian national anthem "Blue Dabba Diba" by Eiffel 65. And we had a great time.
I actually didn't use paint. I just took colloidal silver until I turned a nice bluish color. The real fans do that.
The secret fifth member of Corner Späti did die from coronavirus. But,
Serbia.
Yeah, Serbia. Getting back to Serbia. The greater context of all this is, like a lot of things that happen in Serbia, we don't talk about it, and lots of people don't talk about it. We talk about it more than most people.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank us. Give us up the seat on the bus. Anyway, protests have been happening in Serbia since 2018. The last big ones were basically called the 1 of 5 million protests, and a lot of what the 1 of 5...
That would be 1 million.
Yeah. The 1 of 5 million protests were large, like... These protests are kind of like largely a continuation of that. Like, it's the same, a lot of the same people going out to the street. And this was like protests against basically the government. Freedom of media, like media in Serbia is controlled more by pro-government voices, even more so than like Hungary and Poland.
Yeah, Serbia is not EU, so they don't fall under these.
No,
like,
Is that all right?
Oh, yeah.
If it's too much for...
There was a lot of other things that kind of set this off. There was like a sexual abuse scandal that caused the 1 in 5 million. Freedom of speech, like Vucic. I know.
Yeah, one of them is a TJ kind of situation. The other one is a ch situation.
Okay, I know the C with the like.
This is the problem of having a show that is in Europe, is that then you have a bajillion different languages.
I'm so glad we're not talking about someone from Iceland yet.
Oh, yeah. But there are two different TH sounds that you have to distinguish between.
So you do what Greek does and just have 2 letters that are TH. You get confused.
So like this is like a continuation of that. And in general, if you were going to go with a more... a broader term for these protests, it's like anti-corruption, anti-government.
Yeah.
Because one of the big things that set this off was corona-related.
Yeah.
So
The election.
They held an election in a parliamentary election in Serbia that was like during the crisis, and basically the government and all the government controlled media was like, it's fine, come out. And obviously what happened was the government wins in a landslide. Yeah. The opposition parties tried to hold like a boycott of it, which is I don't think was a smart idea.
That is the thing, exactly. They all said, so since Vucic said, okay, this was a big win, and actually he has a fucking weird name for his party, like Alexander Vucic.
What is
Party
to be clear, listeners may have seen this man and what appeared to be the set of a Paul Verhoeven movie during coronavirus, when he was just surrounded by like 50 television screens, like with people on them, and he was like appeared to be some kind of game show host standing in the middle. That guy.
Yeah, him. Okay, now I know who you're talking about. Him, the guy who then was also then saying that like China's cool and like.
So anyway, but. The opposition called for a boycott of the election. That led to it being like a super low turnout. It's for like 48% or something.
So like normal U.S. turnout.
The last one was by like 56.7% or something like that. So this one was actually
slightly high U.S. turnout.
Just to interject, that was the plan. That was the initial call in Poland before they kind of. To boycott the election until they
probably saw what happened
until they found their golden boy.
Jaskowski.
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 Or Virginkowski now.
So,
sorry, I was clicking because it's jazz.
Yeah.
It's about the policies you don't support.
It is. So they held this election, but like other things that came out, like, okay, so the election happens, it's a massive landslide for Vucic's party, and
Now I know under what he was running for the parliament shit.
Yeah.
It was Alexander Vucic for the future of our kids.
So he just Helen Lovejoy won't somebody think of the children.
Yeah, exactly.
But what about the kids?
The kids are all right, but
No,
my
is it
God.
the kids who are wrong? No.
Nice.
yeah. So, oh my god. Anyway, but like a big part of this that like came out afterwards is that the election happens, and then there's a huge spike in coronavirus cases in Serbia. However, this huge spike is not. So, like, I think as far as the protests on the ground are concerned, huge spike wasn't caused by the election happening, but rather
All the Serbians going to the beach in Florida.
yes, all the Serbians going to the famous beaches that Serbia has.
Yeah, it's a fucking landlocked country.
Oh no, they're in Bosnia again.
Nick's there for some reason with the CIA. We don't know why. As in, that is me. If you can't tell from my voice.
So the issue more comes down to the fact that to hold the election, the government suppressed the actual figures of new cases of coronavirus in the country. So I want everyone to look in the room at this very not fraudulent graph.
I like how stable it is during the election.
Completely flat, perfectly flat, not one.
New case.
Yeah.
Actually, I have to correct myself when I said earlier that Poland was supposed to do it in April. It was actually Serbia who was supposed to do it in April. Yeah.
Can we make this into a TikTok somehow?
This is
This
beautiful.
graph.
I love how it's just like the same level.
Yeah.
Beforehand, it's like
And the thing is,
he has no lips. He'll never get a kiss.
and the thing is, like his party got a lot of support because people were thinking he's handling the crisis so well.
Yes, exactly.
So they were like, wow, and he's having this like fiery speech on how we should trust China instead of the
Which,
EU.
I mean, to be fair,
and
like
he's not wrong about
I
that.
wasn't wrong about that.
Yeah, definitely. Like the EU was kind of like even like
China's put a lot of investment
abandoning
into,
their own
into
member
Serbia.
states like Italy and shit like that. So yeah, but of course it was like this was a big fucking speech because this was a speech on television. This was a speech about how Serbia is always in like always kind of like the what's it called the Problemkind. Problem child. Problem child is the same fucking in German. Okay, the problem child of the countries that want to join the EU.
Yes,
because no one ever knows where Vucic stands. Does he want to get closer to Russia? Does he really want them to join the EU? What are they doing? Yeah. So Serbia is always kind of like turning their back on the EU bit with a like pre-accession process.
Yeah.
So.
The kind of like. So yeah, this data comes out that's like for anyone who has like a fucking brain in Serbia realizes these cases are like the numbers have been like completely fraudulent for the purposes of holding an election. The reason like the spike happens was because everyone was told it was fine and it wasn't. People still had cases and suddenly it's spiking again because we all just went about our day. So that's when the protests kick off. It was caused the event that broke the straw that broke the camel's back was like the re-implementation after the spike comes out of like a curfew of
on the
a lockdown. Which was kind of like it's not so much that the curfew happened. I think most Serbians are happy to like quarantine for purposes of the health of the country. It's more just the fact that like
for greater Serbia.
For greater Serbia, which we are a part of, you are a part of, no matter where you are in the
Except
world.
for me, because I want Ottoman Serbia back.
I don't know why, but I feel like that's very cursed energy.
Yeah, both very much so, yeah. To anyone listening who's new to the show, do not take my pro-Ottoman comment seriously.
But yeah, the issue was more the fact that it was like Vucic who caused this problem being like, and now we all need to buckle up and say that, like, you did this! You shat on the floor! You clean it up!
We're all looking for the guy who did this.
It is the meme.
We shouldn't point fingers here.
It is the meme. It's the sketch of like the hot dog themed car crashing into the front of the building. It's like, who did this? And someone in a hot dog suit was like, just come forward and confess now. So like, yeah, then these massive protests go off. They're mostly in Belgrade, the capital, but it has spread to all the cities that I am now going to not pronounce correctly. Novi Sad. Niš.
Niche, that's right.
Yeah, I know how to do the hat thing. Smederevo.
Wait, what?
Smederevo.
Yeah,
It's Smederevo.
It is.
Yeah.
That's Serbian for smegma.
Smederevo. Why is it Italian?
I get a bonus from Brussels every time I make a smegma joke on the show.
In Bitcoin.
I'm the pocket of big smegma.
Yeah, Rob sent that tweet out of like, I'm doing something for Corona. I'm $1,000 in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Rob did not get hacked.
Other
Yeah, that was real. Bad timing. Just trying to give
Rob
out
gets his blue
Bitcoin.
check mark. Other cities it spread to Kragujevec, Kruševec, Kraljevo, Čačak. I'm not kidding. Srednjanin, Vranje.
Kieran is talking Serbian to you.
Yeah,
now.
right?
Yeah,
This is Corner Späti ASMR of just
actually,
Kieran.
fuck, I just
Nisam
read a
normalna.
Serbian
All right. Serbian ASMR. I list Serbian cities. Okay. Vienna. Istanbul. Moscow.
Constantinople.
Berlin.
Oh, here we go.
Moscow. Right, so
New Brunswick.
Why not?
why the fuck not? Greater Serbia.
Columbus, Ohio.
Look,
Serbia's everywhere in your mind if you believe it.
it's like that. It's like the race blind quote that people say. Like, there's only one race, the Serbians. We're all Serbian.
It would make things easier if you just made everyone
Buenos
Serbian.
Aires.
They have great music, I gotta say.
They do, yes.
Your friend who's a fucking Serbian pop star.
shout out.
We're not doxing him.
Temecula, California.
All right, so protests get big.
Caracas.
This is
America, Serbia.
But like I said, okay, so this is a huge, unlike the 1 in 5 million, which is a predominantly like center left to far left kind of protest.
I was about to ask.
Yeah.
What is the other demographics? Of the
Everyone's
protests?
out in force now.
So it's kind of like the Hungary situation where there was like protests
Yeah,
by Apple Party.
Hungarian word.
But well, it's actually where you have the same in Russian. You have a party that's called the same, but you have them in Hungary as well, and they're like a far right group.
But to like,
Did we get to talk about Yablika Party now?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. No, I'm just talking about like the protests and how they are actually like a very like mixed demographic of far right parties, left parties, young people.
Yo, I hate demographic mixing.
ooh, all right.
Okay, Nick. Interesting energy you have today.
But like, okay, so we have protests coming out from like. Actually, a good source of this has been like the Serbian version of BBC News, which I didn't know.
It's
was
just
a thing.
BBC News.
Serbia.
I'm actually just looking at the Welsh version, and I just couldn't tell. But like, okay, so a lot of police violence. I think a lot of people saw clips of like people getting tear gas, people getting beaten to shit.
Oh yeah,
out.
the Serbian police are insane.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Try to have a pride parade there.
Try to cross the border into Serbia.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, from Kosovo.
Just imagine the like general insanity of like your usual like yoked Serbian man, and then think of the subsection of that person who then wants to join the police.
It's the more yoked dog meme.
yeah.
It is most of my knowledge of Serbia comes from NBA players, current and former from Serbia, and they're all like 7 feet tall and look kind of scary.
Yeah.
It's that Yugoslav energy.
Yeah, so like every like racist cop in Belgrade is like a failed NBA star.
And they're the same
Yo, I
height
could have been pro.
as Boban, like Marjanovic.
Yeah.
It's like 7'6".
It's like 7'6".
So like some of the weirder like
Every Serbian cop can dunk.
Without jumping.
So one of the weirder reactionary forces were like the very weird like Serbian irredentist crowd who were just like holding banners being like,
We are also doctors.
No, you're not.
irredentist, you stop it.
That's what I said.
No, Kieran, I'm a dentist. No, but like the weird irredentist crowd who were holding banners of like Serbia and Montenegro together again, and you're like, yeah, I got the face off of you.
holding a large boombox at the border with Montenegro.
While doing
Show me the banner.
while doing the finger thing.
I want to see it.
So like,
I mean, who doesn't miss Serbia and Montenegro?
but they're also holding banners of like patriarchal saints from the Orthodox Church as well. It was a fun energy.
That is really
What the
weird.
headline around, you know?
Yeah,
They already had
whatever.
those.
It's like
Is
the-
it? Wait, they aren't the weird version of Stalin that then's made into a.
I don't think so.
Oh, damn.
Unfortunately not.
Fuck.
I don't trust
Serbia.
those guys.
No, they're not.
So the only one that I trust is that weird icon of Stalin that exists.
Those are probably the guys who like protest the Pride Parade with Serbian neo-Nazis and shit like that, and like soccer hooligans, football
Yeah.
hooligans.
Yeah.
We are in Europe. I can say football.
So in general, like where the protests are now, like there's been a lot of police violence. Vucic called in like some platoons of the military into particularly Belgrade, but it's interesting to see that like the predominantly like pro-government media has also started to turn against Vucic a little bit.
Interesting.
Yeah. So like there's a paper I believe called Courier. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. But
Kieran, I think Courier is.
yeah,
good,
that's
so.
cool. Yeah.
Courier, yeah, I did it. Nice.
I mean, it just says courier. So.
Yeah. But like this paper is like usually like pro-government, pro-Russia, anti-EU, that kind of side of Serbian
Like a
politics.
tabloid kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
situation.
But now,
But Serbian.
Pro-Russian Serbian.
but they would be like the ones who would like originally at the beginning of this would claim the protests were all just like made by pro-EU Western intelligence. Yeah, that kind of bullshit. They're now like pumping out headlines being like, Vucic, you fell asleep at the wheel. Tisk, tisk. So there's a bit of like the weird media, like government-controlled media turning against Vucic. That might be a glimmer of hope.
Interesting.
But, and also like,
Yulia making her way into the pro-Russian Serbian media by
Yeah.
using Russian.
Очень интересно.
Как интересно.
you got the job.
Yeah. So what do you make of the like coalition of protesters that's forming? Like, is it just? I mean,
I
it's
think that's like really normal in these like former Soviet countries, though,
What?
isn't it?
in
Like,
a lot of countries. I mean,
No.
What?
people are in the streets.
The protesters, like the right wing, left wing,
Yeah.
coalition.
I mean, I wouldn't say that is only a thing in Eastern Europe. I mean, you see that in
Gilets
France.
jaunes.
Yeah,
Gilets
exactly.
jaunes,
You
yeah.
see that
True,
in France as
true,
well.
true.
I think it's especially if it's a protest that affects like a wide part of the demographic of the population. Then you can have
Yeah, no, true.
Many-
Everyone's involved.
yeah.
Yeah, so like I think I would say about that is actually Gilets jaunes is a good example because like when the Gilets jaunes were starting, Gilets jaunes, everyone was kind of like trying to cancel them.
Yeah, because of the-
yeah. Probably in the way that like the Hong Kong protests were kind of successfully
Yeah.
cancelled. But
Yeah.
like
Which I'm so glad that we never had to make a comment about them.
no, and we never
Yeah.
will.
We never
We
will.
will not.
But like
One of the only things that our podcast never agreed on.
woo. So moving on. But with the Gilets jaunes, the thing that happened was like the weird like Bitcoin Gilets jaunes like eventually
Yeah.
faded away because the classic rule of the right doesn't know how to fucking organize.
Yeah.
In France.
In France, yeah. But like, this is a possibility in Serbia. Like, I already got reports again from the person helping us out with a lot of this information, Brad Brain, on the Discord. Join the Discord.
The Discord.
The Discord, yes. He did point out that like on the fifth day of consecutive protests.
On the fifth day of consecutive protesting.
Popular unrest gave to me.
Please sing it.
Anarcho-communist state.
Syndicalism. He did say the character of the protests had like completely changed. Like the right wing element had like at that point kind of dropped off.
Same thing with the BLM protests in the
Yeah,
US.
I mean that seems to be. Not unlike the Yellow Vests too, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that's the only hope that we can really kind of talk about the character of the protests is that over time that the left wing, the people who like fetishize this moment,
who know how to organize, who are waiting to run.
Depends on the country, but you got
Speaking of Hong Kong, do they all have the umbrellas in Serbia?
Do they ride them around with skateboards?
They did.
Wait.
I'm going to be looking for the umbrellas.
The protesters in Serbia at one point did have rubber duckies. That was the thing because that was the Belgrade is sinking protest.
Belgrade is sinking. That's my
Japan is sinking. 2020.
Belgrade is sinking. That's my new deathcore band.
Wait, but is that like tactical defense from police, rubber ducks? Or
No.
Okay.
I don't think that protest.
Just checking.
That protest never got to that kind of like level of confrontation, but it was about the water. What's the river that runs through Belgrade?
The Danube.
It's the Danube,
Yeah.
Okay. It was like all the Danube front property was like bought by like Saudi money, and they were just like building these ridiculous things that would also like fall into the river, and that's where
a lot of parallels
falling
to Bulgaria.
Into the Danube is also my side project.
Fall into the river.
Falling into the Danube.
I'm willing to be on all of these projects with you,
Yeah.
but like it was a
Open up this pit.
It was an anti-gentrification.
Die is a Gruppe.
So that's Serbia.
We will keep you posted on.
So now we spin the wheel.
Yeah.
Now we spin the wheel. Nice.
Big bucks, no whammies.
Yeah, big bucks, no whammies. Which European country is also on fire?
Crack, 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 crack. Okay, it's first one we're gonna do real fucking quick is Macedonia.
Not a real country. Skip it.
I'm sorry, you got what the board landed on.
Yeah, I don't like that one. Stop it.
Oh no.
We call it Northern Macedonia.
Better.
So yeah, the shit going down in Macedonia is they had an election. Just real quick though, the election has resulted in a really fucking weird situation.
Where they have like an Albanian minority party who
I'll get but I'm gonna get to that. Don't worry. So the results was basically that like the Social Democrats won, but like only barely beat VMRO -DPMNE.
Because nothing in Macedonia has to be fucking easy now, does it?
Yeah, Vrumro Dpne, which is the right wing opposition party.
What does that stand for?
I have no fucking clue. There is
Free Albania.
they're as confused with the name of their country as we are. So
Wait, they say they have revolutionary organization.
they're
Right
not.
wing.
They are not. We're going to revolt and turn this country into the fucking Mussolini's Macedonia. So they got so the Social Democrats got 36.1% of the vote. The main opposition Conservative Party got 34.9.
You want to hear the phone name?
Go for it. Let's go.
Okay.
Macedonian hour. Let's fucking hear it.
Okay. Revolucionarna organizacija demokratska partija za makedonsko nacionalna etnistva.
Beautiful. Rolls off the tongue. Vrumro to Nipne. So this is like Prime Minister Zoran Zaev is like...
Shit, I forgot a part. In the front, there's also Nadrezhna Makedonska.
AKA not Greece.
Not Greece, stop asking. But okay, so like this was kind of a referendum on Prime Minister Zoran Zaev's like whole trying to position Macedonia more on the global stage where like all their neighbors don't hate them.
They want to join NATO recently too.
Exactly. Yeah. They want to join the EU. They've renamed the fucking country. They've renamed all their airports from not being called Alexander the Great is ours. Shut up. Stop asking. To like I don't know Skopje Airport, something like that. So like all of this was kind of unpopular because they did all this like. North Macedonia did most of the like conceding of points. They called themselves North Macedonia, whatever, and then like the Greeks changed government to fucking
Satan.
Yeah,
Satan.
to the bad guy in the Greatest Song in the World music video.
Oh my god!
Well, I can't just say Satan. There's something broken in my brain. I gotta just say Satan. But Neo Demokratia just like actually no, fuck this. The Macedonians are still subhuman scum. So that caused problems. They have this election, and now the only party the Social Democrats can work with
is Golden Dawn.
No, is the Ethnic Albanian Party, Democratic Union for Integration is what they called. So I'm just going to call them DUI.
Doozy.
They
also
that's the short thing, right? Yeah.
That's a young thug. That's a young thug ad lib. Dewey.
It also it's literally DUI, so I'd like to assume that they're supporting drunk driving. Finally, they will allow Macedonians to drive
a true Albanian
drunk however they want.
part of Albanian culture.
I just want to say this sounds like a great movie, like two like little fish out of the water, like they got to work together. And then
They
join
fight
the
for
EU.
drunk driving in Eastern Europe.
Yeah, so
A
this
national pastime.
Classic. You got your one, the straight man trying to join the EU, and then the sidekick, drunk driving everywhere.
Yeah. Isn't that what you guys in America do with like bills and shit? You add like some weird shit to it, and then
Like blueberry farming in like Washington or something like that. Yeah.
But also, like, there is a lot of humor in this of just like the party advocating for drunk driving, being like, "But aren't you guys Muslim?" It's like, shit, fuck it.
Yeah, but we're Albanian Muslims.
We're Balkan Muslim kids. Drink up, bitch.
We're far more insane than like anything you could ever imagine.
We're drunk and we're Muslim.
I would join ISIS twice.
Are we allowed to say these things?
Probably not, but whatever.
Please don't take that clip out of context. Of just Kieran announcing he would join ISIS twice.
Kieran Dold of the podcast Corner Späti admitted that he will join ISIS twice.
Twice as nicest. My brain is broken. All right. So the issue with this of working with like the Social Democrats working with DUI is that DUI's only condition.
I can only think of
Drunk under the influence
is a $10,000 fine in a weekend tent city in Phoenix.
Oh god, I was actually going to go for one of like Donald Duck's nephews thing with Dewey, but this is a far better riff. The only condition that this ethnic Albanian party has of working with Zoran Zaev and his Social Democrats is that the Prime Minister of Macedonia has to be ethnically Albanian.
I love this take.
That's also just good negotiating.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's like,
Line
okay,
in
we
the
take
sand.
the highest position.
Yeah. Candidates that we have put forward, good ethnic Albanians to rule North Macedonia, formerly known as Macedonia, formerly known as Greece,
No, known as Albania.
now known as Albania. Candidates who are Albanian that we will accept as Prime Minister: Celine Dion, Sonic the Hedgehog,
Dua Lipa.
Huey, Dewey, or Louie.
Wait, who's the pop star?
Rita Ora.
Rita Ora, yeah.
There are a
I was
few,
about to
actually.
say her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Albanians have been cranking out the hits.
Yeah.
So that's the situation Macedonia is in. So it's probably going to another election because.
So I'll bow down before your new Prime Minister of Albanian Macedonia, Rita Ora.
I like this.
Or just Dua Lipa, just telling you about like.
Change the national anthem to one of her songs.
Yeah, that one that everyone was saying that I've forgotten. That was just like a list.
Exactly.
It was just a list of why you shouldn't call your ex.
Good.
It's a 100 Gex song, right?
It's a good list.
Is there any?
It's a good tip when you're drunk, you know?
I love Dua Lipa's song. That's when I'm drunk. Stop fucking calling your ex.
Is there any prognostication of what would happen in a second election? What are the moving and shaking?
No, probably the exact same results, which would suck ass.
All right, well.
Or more votes for.
You don't know till you try.
More votes for Dewey. Yeah. More Albanian. What?
You don't know until you try.
You don't know until you try. That's probably what's going to happen. Because the other option is like a 4-party coalition with like a razor-thin majority.
Horrible.
Yeah. Some like
that will work. That will be very efficient.
Yeah, like Drunk Under the Influence is probably the most reasonable party in Macedonia. The other people are probably demanding that they annex Bulgaria or something. All right, we spin the wheel again.
Yeah.
Woo.
Greece. Yes, Greece indeed.
How did you know?
Bullshit rigged.
Yeah, seriously.
Fix.
The real Macedonia. No, Greece has been kind of crazy because they passed the same resolution that Serbia did.
Yeah.
And they just brought Molotov cocktails into the street and went buck fucking wild. And it's cool.
Nice.
Also, I saw that from our interview 2 weeks ago that the Mera members were also on the street, not throwing Molotov cocktails, being more sensible about the situation.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people are calling this like a junta law. Like this is yeah.
So the thing that they did is that they, which we talked about briefly, I think in the interview, is that they made it so that then the police could now go onto university campuses, which was
classic sticking point.
Yeah, which
worked for Kent State.
Depending on your perspective, but yeah. No, so the thing that then was it's kind of been a point that the new Greek government of Nea Thermokratia under Mitsotakis has done is that they've been slowly reversing all these like left-wing points that like, not that Syriza wasn't reversing them as was also mentioned in that interview, but the one about universities then being able to then be independent is a big portion of like the modern Greek society post military junta. And then so there's been that backlash, and then on top of that, just with these the corona stuff as well has ended up in massive street protests the entire week.
Yeah.
And
about 10,000.
It literally is on fire.
Yeah. Because the Greeks know how to protest.
They do.
So about like 10,000 people coming out. Namely, the like law also. One of the big things with the law is just stopping public protests.
Yeah.
So they protest.
Yeah,
as you rightfully should.
So.
Yeah, exactly. About 15 other people have been arrested for questioning. 9 people have been taken in. That's as of earlier this week. It's probably changed since then. I will spin the wheel again. I'm going to fly through these.
Russia.
Stop rigging this.
So Putin's president forever?
Yeah, that's the fun thing that's happening now, isn't it? So this is what people are protesting against, is the fact that oh my God. Putin passed, what was this thing?
It was a referendum that they could vote on.
Yeah.
And he overwhelmingly won.
Yeah.
To extend it to 2036.
Jesus fuck.
We're talking about that now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
God, what age will I be?
It's interesting because, since I work at the Eastern European Institute, we were already planning on, Putin, what's after that?
Nothing.
Because he was supposed to be done in 2024. And
that is a good strategy if you're just, trying to not do work. Be like, I'll take the after Putin. I'll work on that one. And then, so we're all sharing the work equally.
Yeah.
I am just thinking about the concept of my fucking child being 16 years of age, able to fucking drink in this country, and Putin is still fucking president of Russia.
Still playing ice hockey, just scoring 37 goals against the Russian national team.
Oh, fuck.
Until the day he dies.
Until the day I die, I'll be running Russia.
Exactly.
Papa Putin, let's go. But there was
Emo
Emo
Putin,
Putin. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm getting a lot.
Sad boy Putin.
I'm getting a lot of joy. No, not sad boy. Sad boys are a very different thing. That's some slang I learned recently. But anyway,
true. Putin doesn't like young, lean, and Blade. So
no, because like a sad boy is someone who pretends to be woke to like rape women. Yeah.
We didn't know.
There you go.
We use it in different contexts.
English lesson. Anyway, but the interesting thing was there's protests in the city of
Khabarovsk. No, wait. That's the region of Khabarovsk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Should be clear that this is very far away from those other things.
It's the furthest east region in Russia because it's on the border to China.
Nice.
And they're normally not so active when it comes to protesting, actually.
Yeah, that's kind of
it's like the biggest protest. In modern history of Russia, in Khabarovsk.
In modern Russia, like when Russia became Russia. Basically,
yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah, no, you're right, and this is like a part of Russia that kind of. I like the impression I get of like places like Vladivostok is like they're just happy to all be alive or whatever, and have like some jobs or whatever. It's gotten pretty big. Apparently about a third of the 1.3 million inhabitants of Furgal, were like out in protests against the constitutional reform. So this is a big deal.
What? Furgal is a guy, you know.
Oh, sorry.
No, Furgal is a guy.
Furgal's arrest,
He is the guy that is a governor. Like Sergei Ivanovich Furgal was a governor of this region, Khabarovsk.
Okay.
And he was arrested because 15 years ago, which would be in 2005.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Ooh.
We have 2020 now. He allegedly killed 2 people.
Oh.
Because of some business things, as far as I know.
Okay.
So he was arrested, so that's why people are protesting right now. The thing is, he is not part of the Unity Party.
Right, United
obviously.
Russia. Yeah.
United Russia, yeah. And he is actually part of the far-right party. So what the people are kind of like, they want him back.
Okay.
So this protest is...
It's a weird one.
Yeah, it's a weird one, exactly.
Okay.
Because they want this guy back here as part of one of
the Liberal Democratic Party of Russia.
Yeah.
This is the party that's like the insane party that's like exists to make Putin seem reasonable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Liberalna Demokraticheskaya Partia России. Yeah.
The Lib Dems.
And they're like ultra nationalist, right wing.
There's literally been debates where like the leader of this party is like, we should genocide all the lesbians.
Exactly.
And then like Putin's like, no, we'll only kill some of them. It's fine. And everyone's like, ooh, look how moderate Putin is. Okay, so that's weird. But
super weird.
Big protests out in East Russia.
There's actually something else that happened in Russia that we might shortly mention, or maybe we make an episode about that.
No, surely
so there was like a new law passed in Russia on trans people. And the bill prohibits changing one's birth certificate. Everyone that has changed it so far has to change it back. Everyone who got married, who transitioned, is now labeled same-sex marriage.
Okay.
Not,
famously well-received thing within Russia.
Yeah. They don't acknowledge same-sex marriages, so that means you're not married anymore now.
Cool. Yeah, that's a fun knock-on effect.
Yeah. Also, when you got married in another country,
they're not recognized.
That is not recognized anymore either. Yeah.
Russia's a fuck. So, spin the wheel.
Crack.
Azerbaijan.
The wheel's very Azerbaijan. All right.
Not that's their lit old national anthem. Look it up if you don't know that the Azerbaijani SSR had a bop.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Azerbaijan and Armenia are
At war?
at war. Yeah,
Fucking hell.
where Azerbaijan's threatening to like drone strike Armenian nuclear power plants.
Yes.
This
yes.
is very good. I like that the news cycle has reached a point where like war happens and we don't really hear about it.
I
It's
mean,
because it's just again, it's they've only seen Star Wars Episode 3 where the rolling credits at the beginning just say war.
No, yeah. It's because nobody's interested in Central Asia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the situation is that people are protesting to go to war, actually, like in Azerbaijan. Like, they're protesting at the parliament saying, like, we want to go to war. Yeah, woo.
Yeah.
And there has been fighting at the borders, as far as I know. There have been people killed at the borders.
15 people at least.
Yeah.
Turkey made a statement.
Turkey made a statement.
Did Turkey
that
make a statement?
Armenia will suffer from their revenge.
Turkish Defense Minister Hulusi Akar vowed that Armenia would definitely, quote, pay for the round of violence on Thursday, in comments that I am not sure anyone wants to hear.
No, exactly. But I mean, Turkey is always out for Armenian genocide. So
yeah, let's go.
Never happened, but my God, I wanted it to happen again. That's their whole fucking thing.
Exactly.
God, I hate the Turkish state. I'm just gonna fucking say it.
Breaking kayfabe there with Nick, and then very quickly spinning the board again. Last but not least, crack, Belarus.
Woo.
We talked about this last episode, a couple of while back.
So another candidate banned.
Everyone we said would get arrested got arrested.
If you're playing corner Späti bingo or you're betting on the fucking Belarusian
We were right.
elections,
Yeah.
we were right.
If anyone had in their pool for who would win Belarus president, if you had Viktor Babariko, that's not gonna
Gone.
work. That's gone, dead,
Eliminated.
Just like the child stars.
Yeah, exactly.
who
Like
are-
like the sheet. Yeah.
yeah.
Two other high-profile candidates were also removed. Viktor Babariko and Valery Tsepkalo.
Valery Tsepkalo. It's a guy.
All right. They're gone. They're dead. Effectively dead.
Eliminated. Your
Wasted.
Class, congratulations, your class has been chosen. It's all battle royale, Belarus.
Yeah, outside of Minsk, it's just battle royale. So they're gone.
So the wife is the only one that is still in
Yeah,
there, right?
Svetlana Tikhat. Oh, I don't know why I thought I could read that. Tikhanovskaya.
Tikhanovskaya.
There we go. That's exactly what I said. So she's the only one still left. I think the interesting thing about all of this is just like Lukashenko didn't used to do this. We mentioned in the episode that like this is kind of like a weird new paranoia of his, but like
Yeah, now everyone is
he used to eliminate the other people who would run against him. He would just win.
Well, yeah, exactly, because the other people
all
would
I do
just
is win, no matter what.
well, all the other people were just like ops. Is that what
Yeah. The friend of an op is an op.
Exactly.
That's how fucking Lukashenko sees it now, though.
The vote was just like Lukashenko versus Lukashenko's mate,
Exactly.
who will concede if he wins.
So yeah, Svetlana is the only one that is left, and she's not even like she's running because her husband can't run.
Yes.
That is YouTube star Mr. Tikhanovskaya. Mr. Tikhanovskov, probably because she's a woman.
Yeah. But like, so I refer back to that episode for the Belarus elections, but everything we said was right.
Yes, we are
Congrats.
always right.
We are always right.
No
Don't listen to
mistakes.
anyone else. Deutsche Welle is lying to you.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Now, last but not least, this is not on the wheel of
No.
fortune that we're playing.
The wheel is dead now.
Yeah, the wheel is dead.
The wheel made me sad.
Long live the wheel. Rob has an update.
Well, all right. So we added this to our protest section because this week, if Serbia was last week, this past week in particular, there have been huge protests in Bulgaria. And so I want to talk about that because, I mean, it's interesting when there's protests. But in researching it, much like our fascination with Boskov, aka the Skull. There are just so many colorful characters in Bulgarian politics that honestly, I'm just going to be upfront. I'm not going to talk about the protests that much. If you're on the streets in Bulgaria,
solidarity.
Yeah, keep it up.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
You will only slightly figure into this little narrative.
Okay, so I just want to, before you go deep dive into it, Jan from Holla 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 reminded me just by chance of like Bulgaria's bizarre tourism ads. Where they had like a whole ad campaign when they became EU president for like that rotating presidency thing about...
They got the Twitter account for a week.
Where they literally said in the ad, Bulgaria, where no means yes.
Oh.
In reference to the fact that Bulgarians shake their head when they mean yes.
I know, very confusing.
It's very
That's
confusing.
why nobody gets them.
But the ad was focused on a young, very pretty Bulgarian woman, and the image was... How did they not know? Okay, go on, Bulgaria, normal country.
All right, I'm going to introduce some of the main actors, a little bit of the context, and then we got to speed run through the actual protest.
Nice.
So we have to start first with, there's basically two sides. The government in power, well, it's also a struggle between the prime minister and the president, but we'll say the government in power is the prime minister and his allies, and then everyone else, which includes protesters, bunch of people who were former government officials, the Skull, everyone else. They're on the other side.
He's hanging out.
He's going to come up. Okay.
Like, where was he? In fucking Dubai or whatever?
So the two main players in power are the prime minister, Boyko Borisov, and the head prosecutor, I guess is his title, Ivan Geshev.
Okay.
Borisov has been prime minister twice before. This is his third non-consecutive term. Former mayor of Sofia, part of the Conservative Party, Conservatives for European Development of Bulgaria.
GERB.
That's acronym is GERB. GERB.
Yeah.
They're not. No, that's not real.
Garb.
That's a Young Thug ad lib.
And honestly, that title sums him up. He's right wing. I guess not far right, pro-Europe, tied to the mafia, suppresses journalists, dismissive of ethnic minorities in Bulgaria.
Normal
Sounds
shit.
like
You know
to
what
me.
you're getting.
Bulgarian summer.
Gerp.
A fun little fact about him, he coaches the Bulgarian national team in karate and claimed to none other than Barack Obama to be a 7th Dan black belt.
Wait, is Barack Obama a 7th Dan black
No,
belt?
he told Obama, I am a black belt in karate.
Wait, but a 7th Dan is so fucking high.
That's what it
There's
said.
only like 3 people in the world who are a 7th Dan. Like,
And one of them is the Prime Minister of Bulgaria.
Boris,
How do you think he got there?
yeah, true, but it's kicking
karate-
everyone's ass
He
because it
karate
is
his
fucking
way up there.
Yeah,
The
it's
Karate Kid movie wasn't actually set in California. It was set on the Black
Sofia.
Coast.
Oh, that is that
it's
makes
a-
sense now to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, I get the movie.
That's like I bet like no, that's just like he was a fucking yellow belt and then became like the fucking the prime minister and was like, I can give myself any title I want now.
Yeah, no, he just went into a bunch of like tax dodging karate studios in Sofia and just been like, be ashamed of this business, closed down.
The guy just like a guy who's just like very out of shape, just chain smoking cigarettes is like, you're 7th Dan now.
but to be clear, he does run the national team. But his former coach, Borisov's former coach, says that he's not a black belt and he's just an administrator for the national team. But Borisov's former coach is running for some elected office in an opposition party, so maybe he's lying. But Borisov himself does kind of seem to be a lying guy. He claimed that his grandfather was executed by the communists in 1944 for supporting peasant leader Nikola Petkov, but Nikola Petkov was on the same side as the communists in 1944. So I think everyone's lying.
Shit, Bulgaria is just a fucking country of lies.
Gerp.
Chief prosecutor.
Bulgaria, where no means yes.
Chief prosecutor Ivan Geshev. Now I like him more because he's more of a comic book villain. I like him a lot.
I know the dude pretending to be a fucking martial arts expert isn't like comic book villain enough for you. Like,
Well, first of all,
I really love that Bulgarian politics just really boils down to like, dude, I could kick Superman's ass. no, you could. Shut up. No, you couldn't.
bro, like I'm like made of fucking kryptonite, bro. Like I swear.
so Geshev was last summer he was appointed to by the
Last
Borisov's
Bulgarian
government.
summer.
By the Borisov government.
Avicii was just playing like posthumously on the fucking beach. Where no meant yes.
Setting the stage. All right, now you got it. Yeah. He was appointed to be the new head prosecutor of Bulgaria, which was met with large-scale protests and was vetoed by the president of Bulgaria, Rumen Radev. He's very important. That veto was basically overridden by the parliament, and Geshev became prosecutor in late 2019. Okay. Why were the protests against him? Well, he has kind of a history. Threatening journalists, using lawsuits to enrich his political allies, such as the politician and media mogul Delyan Pivska, a member of the national parliament whose companies own 80% of print media in Bulgaria. Nice. He will come up again in a minute. Back to the prosecutor. Geshev is well known for filing a lawsuit against Corporate Commercial Bank, aka Corp Bank. The main witness against...
What kind of fucking Mr. Robot-esque like villainy is
cyberpunk ass name his name?
Evil Inc.
Yeah,
Corp.
evil Corp.
Evil Corp, yeah.
So that's like me doing the cyberpunk adventure for the Patreon. First draft, Corp Bank in brackets, come up with better name later.
That whole thing started when the aforementioned Pivsky, the media mogul who's friends with Geshev, he pulled all his money out and started to run. And
then his media thing is called Media Corp.
I don't know.
Global Corp.
He does have another appropriately named business we'll get to. Geshev, the main witness against the majority shareholder, became a millionaire after the bank collapse. It seems it's all very fishy.
Weird.
Geshev also arrested the mayor and deputy mayor of a district of Sofia on trumped-up charges. Both women, when the witness against the two women dropped out...
He said no, and he was like, they mean yes. I want to be arrested.
When the witness against the two women dropped out, saying he had been pressured into making a statement, Geshev said Romani people always do this, except he didn't use the word Romani.
He didn't use it, he just meant it.
Geshev said in a recent interview...
series of slurs.
This sums it all up. Geshev said in a recent interview that, quote, one is not a bad person for doing bad things, but for enjoying them.
I like those ethics. We should talk about this in philosophy.
I'm not enjoying it, so it's not wrong.
I like this
Geshev School of Ethics. I think that
Tony Soprano had that as his fucking motto the whole time.
Like I said, karate prime minister, comic book villain, head prosecutor. I want to introduce the media mogul quickly. He's in parliament now as a member for the Movement for Rights and Freedoms Party, an economically liberal party. They're associated with ALDE on the EU scale, that gains high support from Romani and Turkish Bulgarians for supporting ethnic minorities. And they're kind of in between the conservatives and the Socialist Party, which will be important later. In addition to his media empire, Pivsky owns several construction companies and Bulgar Tabak, the largest tobacco company in Bulgaria.
I love the names they have for stuff.
I wish everything was like named that in Germany, of just like, this is easy. Bank. Beer Corp.
Deutsche Bank.
It's basically when you give like stuffed animals like a name, like it's a zebra and you call it Zebri or something like that.
Like my teddy bear when I was 3 and I named my teddy bear Teddy and I was like, I'm so fucking original.
You are.
Nailed it. It's me, 3-year-old Nick. Nailed it.
Yo, that's crazy. Teddy? No one ever fucking thought of that.
Pivsky's
I still have Teddy, by the way.
Also caused a lot of he's also caused a lot of protests in his life, and actually he brought down a government. In 2013, he was elected by the Bulgarian parliament to be the head of the State Agency for National Security. Again, he is I think billionaire. That triggered a massive protest wave in 2013, 2014 in Bulgaria. He resigned, and it crumbled the coalition of the Socialist Party and Pivsky's Movements for Rights and Freedoms Party, which had just been elected in early 2013. Yeah, so basically the first thing they did was try to put this guy in charge of national security, and it collapsed the government.
Nice.
The main opposition player is going to be the president of Bulgaria, Rumen Radev, elected in 2016, who seems to have run as an independent, but is supported by and as a longtime member of the Socialist Party in Bulgaria. And it's basically been an ongoing struggle between him and Borisov since the moment he was elected.
You wrote a book called My Struggle about it too,
Radev, I'm not picking a side here. Radev did condemn the EU support for Juan Guaido, so bonus points for that, I guess. Okay, so some context for the protests. Number one is the euro. On July 10th, very recently, Bulgaria and Croatia took the final step to join the euro. Ooh. I'm not a Brussels nerd with an EU flag in my Twitter display name, so I don't really know what that means.
Woo!
I think
we now turn to Kiron.
They've joined the ERM2.
Yeah, European Rate Exchange Mechanism. Yeah. So this is
2.
Yeah, two. The first one was a disaster.
Is that where they just fix your rate to something that then is comparable to the euro?
Yeah, exactly. It's to make it convertible.
Ask the Baltics.
So
They're great at that.
So that when they convert to the euro, it's like an overnight thing that they can just easily do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that there's something simple like 7 Bulgarian lev equals 1 euro. Yeah. It's a currency conversion mechanism. Most European countries get out of joining the euro, which they're mandated to do by not joining ERM2, which they are not mandated.
Because what you do then is you also sacrifice your monetary policy to a degree in that sense, because you then can't. Your monetary policy technically comes from your own country, but it then is pegged on you're
tied to the euro.
Pegged to the euro. Yeah.
So like that's not a huge problem for either Bulgaria or Croatia because they're both like independently have pegged their currency. I guess Croatia won't be able to do the like bullshit raising the peg, raising the conversion rate for the summer months to like fleece people out of tourism money.
Yeah.
But like tourism season this year has been bullshit for Croatia anyway because Corona. So yeah, that's not really going to work out for them. This is like a weird. This reminded me that in like 2008 when the money was burning, that like a lot of countries really wanted to join the euro because they thought that like they were going to be completely fucked. Like the only time that there's been majority support in Sweden for joining the euro was just after 2008. And Iceland tried to adopt the currency unilaterally, like Montenegro and Kosovo have.
The Baltics.
Yeah.
Baltics, they were like on their way there. And then
Yeah.
So basically, Borisov even said as much. He said like we should have been part of the euro when the coronavirus, this crash, and
I don't get that though, because not being part of the euro, then
they're all fucking oligarchs who can't
no,
just say things.
Of course, but I mean, like, but just simply in the sense that then, like, when you do have your own monetary policy, you can actually subside a lot of the.
Like spend your way out of it.
Yeah, you can spend.
But these are the parties that wouldn't do that.
No, of course not. But just like simply like in a monetary position, like not being on the euro right now is actually beneficial to like Greece, for example, is fucked.
Yeah.
You know what's going to happen because. All right, just projected Greece is going to have massive unemployment after Corona.
Surprise.
And, surprise, surprise. A country that then has just flatlined their economy. Something that then has been very much against that is that Greece cannot do their own spending because they are they are part of the Eurozone. Yeah. So the fact of that then that there's this bizarre, weird alternative economic theory from then these dipshits that then think that then the euro is going to be the thing that's going to get them out of this like crisis is fucking psychotic, because I think every nation who got fucked in 2008 wishes that they did not drop their currency. And I'm not saying that then that their currencies were good. Like the Greek drachma was like an insanely unstable currency to begin with.
With a cool name, though.
With a really cool name, yeah. 1 drachma, 2 drachmi.
Sounds like dragon to me, so I love it. So like Drache.
But
because in German we say Drache. So
yeah, but you can like in that sense you could theoretically, legally, get your way out of it in the sense of how I think that the perspective towards monetary policy is changing. As money being a legal factor more so than an actual like supply demand sort of thing that we've been trained into thinking of it as.
Nick is an 8th Dan economist. Well, it's all over now because they joined and they don't have an opt out. It's basically it starts the 2-year cycle, which is the final criterium to join.
It's 2 years minimum. You can actually spend quite a long time. Latvia was like 7 years or something in it.
And all that Swedish investment.
They had the problem with the crisis in
there will I suspect, particularly with Bulgaria, there will be resistance because Bulgaria is the poorest EU country.
Yeah.
So public opinion.
Wait, Romania isn't?
No,
Bulgaria is.
Romania is second.
Public opinion is divided on the euro right now. It used to be quite high and it's kind of dropped over time. I mean, over the past few years. And Borisov said that the protests are trying to destabilize the country before important geopolitical decisions. I think referring to the euro. Context number 2, the skull. Vasyl Bozkov. So we did a little update before. Yep. He is in Dubai.
Living his best life.
Reminder, posting, learning how to edit, make videos.
Doing cartoons of spiders that I think might be anti-Semitic. I'm not sure yet.
Oh, shit, seriously?
I need someone to consult on.
Show me.
A quick reminder.
I'm German. I know what's anti-Semitic. Oh God.
A quick reminder that he claimed that the finance minister under the Borisov government, Vladimir Goranov, tried to get the skull to cut Goranov into his lottery business, and he claims that Goranov, the finance minister, only cracked down on the skull when the skull said no, that you can't get in on the grift. But
yes.
this is part of this is just one example of a building anti-corruption sentiment that's been going on for a couple of years and is being stirred by ongoing leaks, but it's not exactly clear from whom, whether it's a skull or other people. One example
The skull was
from June. There was leaked drone video taken outside the Prime Minister Borisov's bedroom.
cute.
The video,
Have we seen how he fucks?
the video showed him sleeping next to a nightstand stacked with 500 € bills and a pistol.
Who needs a woman if you can have money and guns?
I mean, right? Yeah.
That's what women are.
Money and guns.
So that was from June, and it's just one example of the ongoing war
We
of
finally
leaked
have
videos.
Like, the video's released, and like 2 years later, we finally have audio of the video, and it's just fucking MIAs. All I want to do is.
I gotta say, it does sound like he's like filming a rap video, like drone outside the window. You're sleeping next to a bunch of money and guns, euros to be clear.
Euros?
It says
Not even
Good
Bulgarian.
money.
I'm quoting from I forget which article, but it says 500 euro bills.
Good money.
Context number 3 and the immediate trigger
Can't
for the
even use those
protest.
anywhere.
It just looks cool, man. So the
It's
immediate
colourful.
trigger.
500 euro notes are purple. Like,
It's really
wild.
colorful. Okay, have you seen a lot of like?
I've never seen a 500 euro
It looks
bill.
good in a
I've
music
seen one
video.
in my entire life.
I've seen it. I've seen it because I worked.
I've seen stacks of them next to my pistol. I don't know about you guys. Okay,
Right next
so
to your fucking glizzy.
Plot twist. Rob is the scar.
so the
Wait,
That's why
third
you want to talk about him so much. It's you.
Yeah.
the third context and the immediate trigger for the protests are the ongoing environmental protests in Bulgaria. This is tied to overdevelopment on the Black Sea and amendments that they've made to the Biodiversity Act.
Yeah.
On July 7th, there were rallies across the country, but that coincided with a protest stunt organized by opposition activist Hristo Ivanov. Ivanov is the former justice minister under the current Prime Minister Borisov. He resigned at a protest that anti-corruption justice reform wasn't being implemented. He is the head of an opposition party called Da Bulgaria.
Duh.
Yes, Bulgaria.
Yes, Bulgaria.
Their coalition.
Yes means yes. It's a radical new policy position.
No, it's like DUH. Duh, Bulgaria.
Their coalition only has one seat, and that's in the EU Parliament.
Yeah.
about
None
to
in the
go.
National Assembly.
Oh no, that doesn't count for anything.
Ivanov, whose party is allied with the Greens, sailed and landed on the private beach of politician Ahmed Dogan, former official leader and still honorary leader of the Movements for Rights and Freedoms Party, very close to our media mogul friend. And Ivanov live streamed it all from his Facebook page. As I understand it, he has quite a social media following. Ivanov was protesting
I
the
love
fact
this country.
Yeah, Bulgaria.
Ivanov was protesting the fact that the beach and roads around the villa are privatized, and Dogan and Pivsky, the media mogul, who are both allied with Borisov, have armed government guards protecting them.
Shit.
So this is all trying to bring it to light. And
It was like the Michael Moore of his country thing,
was-
but just like live Twitch streaming it.
I do have the video, which we can link in the comments or watch later.
I want to see it too.
And that basically set
Just
everything
him like in a
loose.
really poor angle, like over his head. Like, here I am. I'm at the hearts for if you want me to take over the island.
Again, he seems like a nice guy. The Ivanov, they have no seats in the parliament. And this is what set everything off. On July 8th was the first day of protest. The head prosecutor, Geshev, remember our friend, he raided President Radev's offices. The protests have continued from there. On July... so for one example, the government claims that the protesters are paid by the skull and that Radev is working for the skull.
Yes.
Geshev... So on July 10th, the July 14th, the sixth day of protest, the U.S. ambassador stepped in and publicly supported the protesters and called for... transparency. And Geshev said, "We agree, we want transparency," and released a leaked audio recording of the skull talking with a member of the Bulgarian Socialist Party and a journalist, claiming that this proves that the skull is working with Radev, the president, who is a member of the Bulgarian Socialist Party.
Okay.
But it's a little tenuous because it's just someone else from the party.
They just name their party something.
And everyone is getting in on the grift, so it doesn't matter.
Niet, Bulgaria.
Yeah, so the government is claiming that it's all paid for by the skull. Asked who was behind it all, Borisov said that the former number 2 in his party, the country's current president, Radev, and the leaders of 2 new political forces, Maya Manilova, she ran for mayor of Sofia, and a TV showman, Slavy Trivanov, are behind it. And he says that Russia is also behind it all.
Oh, of course.
Wow.
Yes.
On July 16th, Borisov fired 3 ministers, including the finance minister, who allegedly, tried to make the deal with the skull. But crucially, not Geshev or himself, who were the key figures that the protest is railing against.
Why would he fire himself?
Well, that's the situation we're at. July 16th was 2 days ago as of this recording, and the protests are ongoing.
Yeah.
Bulgaria.
That's where we're at.
Bulgaria.
Back to you guys in the studio. I will say, the skull got his man because he took down the finance minister. We're going to remake the Assad meme, but with the skull. Like, oh, I'm sorry? What did you say?
Who's got to go?
So we're going to keep an eye on Bulgaria.
Yeah.
I honestly,
Bulgaria. That's
like
a
I
new
said,
corner Späti bit now.
This country is insane, and I don't know where Rob gets the insight.
That's why we never talk about it in what I studied, in Eastern European studies, because we don't want to fuck with it.
No, it's too much.
That's too much.
We'll need to add another year onto the course, just for Bulgaria.
yeah, like I said, I was kind of light on the actual protests. They're, in the streets every day, but it's really unclear what's going to go on. And I don't know if this Radev guy is actually any. It just seems like a kind of a carousel.
Not,
Doesn't seem like anyone is kind of trustworthy.
Yeah, that's why the skull is going to step in and take over. Bulgarian summer. Bulgarian summer 2020. He did kind of prophesize it, right? He's like, Bulgarian summer. And then they're like, hey, it's July. Weather's great. Let's go out and protest.
Sun's out, guns out. Revolution, baby.
Literally.
Guns out with your fucking 500 just euro stacks next to your bedside.
Wait, was that the skull?
No.
No, that was
That was the.
We mixed it up earlier.
I just thought the idea was pro tip from me, the skull. Whenever you're setting your gun down on your stacks of 500 euro notes, make sure the pistol end is not hot. That might burn the money.
One other thing that was funny is that he claimed that the drone video was taken by Radev, the president, and Radev said, I do own a drone, but it was not me.
Wow.
King shit.
Yes.
On this weird fucking note.
Yep. Eastern Europe.
That is Eastern Europe. We tried to cover as much as we possibly could within this massive near 2-hour episode. So hope you guys enjoy. We hopefully will have updates about these individual things when they develop further. Otherwise, stay safe.
Yeah.
Put your money and your guns in different places so that then if a drone does come and look into your window, it's nothing conspicuous.
Yeah, he just has guns. It's fine.
Yeah, or
he has no money.
Yeah.
No money, just guns.
And on that note, we will see you guys all next week. Take
Goodbye.
care. Bye-bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Baka.